Greetings, welcome to Hexed Encountered. In this video, we're going to take a quick look, kind of a first look at Normandy 44. Of course, this is a part of the 4X series from Mark Simonitch, published by GMT Games, and they just did the 4th printing. Now, I have a still in shrink game from the 3rd printing of this game, which came out in 2021, and then of course you see here 4th printing 2024. Now what you might notice is the size of the box, right? So we got a giant box and a slightly less giant box here. So this is the the 2021 printing, and this is the 2024 printing. What I did was you have the option to buy the mounted map. So that's what's in here, is just the maps. The mounted map for the game, and over here we have the actual game. So I'm going to unbox this, and then ultimately the stuff that's in this box is going to end up in this box with the mounted map. So you do get the much thicker map. You can see that the boxes are slightly different in size in general, although pretty close. Maybe it's just the height. It looked a little different when I had it out earlier, but these are the two. I'm going to pull the shrink off both of them right now, and then we'll go through we'll look at the mounted map in particular, of course, because that's the big thing from my perspective, and we'll also look at just the components here for the Normandy 44. So I realized what the issue was when I was talking about the boxes being different sizes because of perspective. This is closer because it's taller. From a camera standpoint, this is further away. Now these are even. I put my finger here. This is actually even with each other, but it looks like this one is shorter than this one, right? It's just a little camera perspective trick, which is funny to see at this scale, because the camera is only about 14 inches from the boxes, but just that little bit of distance with the increased height of this, this one's about twice as high as this one. So I'm guessing this looks like a 3-inch box, I'm guessing, and this is probably just 1.5 inches. So having said that, that's just a little digression here. Now we'll actually get into what we came for. So I'm going to slide the mounted map out of the way, and we're going to start with just the game. So we'll flip it over, and we'll do our quick kind of look here at the game itself, of course. Now, this is familiar. This game's been around for a bit, of course. It being on the 4th printing, that tells you probably more than you need to or enough that you would need to know about how old the game is. I don't know. I'm just babbling at this point. Anyway, Normandy 44 is a 2 or 3, or 2-2-3, I should say, player regimental level game of the D-Day landings on June 6th and the battles that raged in Normandy for the next 21 days. So you get 3 weeks, right? The solitaire suitability scale it's a 7. So this is like all the 4X games. It is solo friendly. During that crucial period, the Germans had their only chance to push back the Allied invasion before the preponderance of Allied men and material made the outcome certain. During this period, the U.S. First Army fought across the Cotentin Peninsula and captured the major port of Cherbourg, while British forces took on the bulk of the German panzer divisions near Caen. Each turn represents 1 day. Each hex represents 3.8 kilometers or 2.3 miles. That's a very specific dimensions for the hexes. The most units are regiments or brigades, though the majority of the armor units are represented as battalions. So the game uses a simplified version of the Ardennes 44 system, move, fight, and reserve movement. All units are rated for troop quality, while all armor units have a tank rating. In each battle, these ratings are used to provide shifts. If you're familiar with 4X, there are shifts for combined arms and other things. In each battle, these ratings are used to provide shifts, as I said, for attacker or defender. Other important shifts are provided by air power, naval power, artillery, and Tiger tanks. So the game includes a 22-turn campaign game, a 7-turn tournament scenario that focuses on the Allies linking up the beaches, and a scenario covering the battle in the peninsula and the capture of Cherbourg. So let's open it up. Put this over here. All right, so we have our single die that you need. Then we have our rules of play. All right, so here are our rules of play. Rule book runs approximately 36 pages. We do have some tables on the back. We have an index as well. Yes, 36, including the back cover. So we'll just go through this pretty quick. This game's been out for a while, so you've probably seen other unboxing videos and so on. You've got your introduction with your basically your list of abbreviations and acronyms that are used in the game. This being a 4X game, zones of control is a very important component of that particular system, or this particular system. We have our inventory of what's in here, the map, the two counter sheets, the rule book, our single die, our two identical terrain effects and combat result table cards, two at start cards. That's another kind of hallmark of this series, is they give you the setup cards for both sides. So we have one for the Germans and one for the Allies. One in Britain card for the units that are still on the other side of the channel, and then one German reinforcement card. So we've got the map, contour lines. We'll see that when we look at the map, so I won't go into detail on that. Then you've got your counters and so on. You've got silhouetted units. Armor rating is in the red box. Real combat strength indicates Tiger tanks receive a shift in attack and defense. So you've got all your things here, your divisional emblem, unit size, type, quality, movement allowance, combat strength, and unit ID. So this would be the 329th Regiment of the 83rd Division, Infantry Division. Then we have the Sherbrooke Fusiliers Regiment of the 2nd Canadian Armored Brigade, combat strength, armor rating, movement allowance, and this beach unit arrives on D-Day, and so on. So you've got nice descriptions of the various counters. You've got your markers down here. The NATO symbology, if you're not familiar with it, you get a nice little key right here. Plus you can see the symbols for the armor and the guns. So we have our 88 flak and our 88 anti-tank. You've got your unit colors for backgrounds to tell who's US, British, Canadian on the Allied side. And then the various arms of the German units on the other side. You've got the Wehrmacht, the SS, the Luftwaffe, Kriegsmarine, and Organisation Todt, which is burgundy. Then you've got your things for full strength, the flip side for reduced strength, and then your cadre or leftover, they're kind of the leftover units. That's another 4X common thing. I've got our sequence of play right here, our weather. You have clear, overcast, and storm. Supply points, that's a very important key element as well. Replacements and reinforcements. Stacking. Zones of control. And the famous Zachbonds. So this Zachbonds is kind of the key, maybe not most key element, but the thing that this system is probably best known for is the Zachbonds. And you have a nice little explanation down here of your bonds. You've got a unit here and a unit here. There's a hex bond, and then you have, because there's a full hex between them, and then here, because of the orientation, you have a hex side bond. So those are the two main types, and so on. And it has, that obviously has an effect. It allows you to kind of build a line and kind of mimics the way units can support each other. And you've got movement. Well, the movement rules, Normandy being what it was, the movement rules, you have to account for things like floods and bocage and all the causeways and all that stuff. Bicycle units, combat. So you got your combat, multi-hex combat, your main assault force, the combat strength limit, and then the procedure, your odds, min and max odds, parenthesized combat strengths. So the combat system's very well fleshed out, but it's if you've not played the system before, it takes a little bit to get your head around it. But it's really, everything is logically derived, and it's really not that bad. Your modifiers, here's your armor shift, things about your river and flooded hex sides, the defensive combat bonuses, troop quality shift, artillery support, hilltops, the Tigers, miscellaneous modifiers, and then your results, and you'll get these results here. So you can have a DH, which means the defender loses half his total steps. You round up. Any surviving unit must retreat 4 hexes. No determined defense is possible, so that's another element, is determined defense. Selecting your step losses. Here's your determined defense explanation. Retreat and disruption. Let's see what else we got. Advance after combat. Reserve movement and combat. Fortifications, also important. You have your IPs, improved positions. You've got your German strong points, the Cherbourg perimeter. Special units. You've got your Ost units. Those are replacement units from the East. Ost is German for East. Then you have HQ information, the Werfer brigades, sorry, Coton 10 artillery and Fortress Cherbourg, the withdrawal of the Rangers and the 4th Special Service Brigade, etc. Supply and isolation. You have isolation attrition. You're out of supply penalties. Air and naval support, which of course was important for that campaign, being that it was right on the coast. The invasion turn. So it gives you a turn 1 sequence of play specifically for the invasion. Then you've got things about the beaches, the mulberries, and evacuations. 22 is special rules. 23, automatic victory. 24, multiplayer, to explain how you can play with 3 or 4 players. Then we've got our credits here and our optional rules. Then you get your scenarios. You've got a full campaign game, your 7-turn mini game, which is the tournament game, Cherbourg scenario. Then our extended example of play. I like to actually do a video of these, so I may go that way. I'm not planning on doing a video on this game like right away, but I do plan on getting to it. I would love to do it during the anniversary. I missed the 80th anniversary this year, of course, but I just have a lot of games. So you have your different things for your example of play. This, the example of play that are in these games, all the 4X Simonitch games, the example of play is excellent. Then you've got your designer notes and your index, and as we saw on the back, invasion tables, your weather effects summary, which we saw inside the book as well, and then our unit types. So you can see the silhouetted units, and then the NATO symbology for all of the units, as well as DCBs here, placement type, and then any special rules that apply to them. You have the rule location, the rule index right here, so you can easily find them inside the rule book, and then the abbreviated sequence of play. So the key to me, the key thing about the 4X series is just how well done it is. So here we have one of our player aid cards. You got your CRT on this side, your determined defense table, your modifiers for the CRT, Yabos table, strafing table. On this side, we've got the terrain effects chart, isolation attrition, and your allied reinforcement points. As I mentioned, we get the setup cards. There are the Germans. Here are the allies. So this is the at start, tells you where they are. Utah, Omaha, Gold, Juneau, and Sword. There are your beaches, and here are the German defenders. The other side has the Cherbourg scenario, except for this one's blank, but that's because the Allies, which in this case is only the Americans, is on this side. So with that, then we have our reinforcements, German reinforcement card, single-sided. We have our in Britain card, which is basically your things that are going to be moved across the channel to the beaches to join the campaign, allied reinforcements basically. So you can see your reinforcement points here for both American units and British Commonwealth. These are both single-sided, as I mentioned. And we've got here our counter sheets. So we'll take a little closer look here. So these are, of course, German units. You can see these are tanks. This is Panzer Lehr, apparently, right here. And you can see unit size and the unit type For the armor, obviously, you see a tank silhouette. So these are some of the Germans. Then we have some Luftwaffe units over here in blue. Fallschirmjägers, some SS units here. You can see the difference in the colors. That's why they gave us the colors there. Down here we have the Org Tote units. And these are German strong points, I believe. So you can see all of those. The other side, some of them have backs, some of them don't, depending. So that's counter sheet 1, which is German units. Then counter sheet 2 here, we've got the Americans on this side. You can see we've got some airborne here, the 82nd and the 101st, as well as regular units, regular Army units, some Big Red 1 units right there. The 16th of the 16th Regiment, 1st Division, right here. So you have the 16th, the 18th, and the 26th regiments, all part of the 1st Infantry Division, the famous Big Red 1. Then you've got some armor as well, and the CCA, the combat teams as well. So you've got American armor, and then these are the cadres. So these are your kind of remnants, your reduced units. We've got an army marker here as well. We've got some air there from the 9th Air Force. And on this side, we've got British and Canadian units, similarly laid out. You can tell by the different colors. These would be the Canadians, I believe, right here. And they also have some 2nd Tactical Air Force right there. And we have our markers. So you get some disrupted markers, some out of supply, improved positions, reserve, the turn marker, your weather marker. We've got some battleships here. The Nevada and Texas from the U.S. Navy, and the Ramillies and Warspite from the British, and so on and so forth. And these are also, of course, double-sided. So you have scattered on one side, and on the other side you have disrupted. The next thing would be the map. So this being the paper map, I'm not going to do much with it. I'll just kind of show that this is the paper map, right? And so now let's get into the main event, and the reason that I'm even doing this video right now is the mounted map, which I just received. So I thought it would be good to take a look at it. So I'm just going to temporarily put this back in the smaller box, and then we'll take a look here at this box, which has, oops, I left the die out, which of course will have a mounted map. Now it comes in shrink wrap, apparently. So we have a shrink wrap here, shrink wrapped map. So I will pull the shrink wrap off and reframe so we can take a look at this very nice GMT mounted map. Okay, so here you see our mounted map. It is very nice. It actually laid pretty flat right out of the box. There's a little bowing right here and a little more bowing on this side, but in general, very flat. Very nice. You know, GMT does maps very well. So we have our beaches, of course, as you might expect. Utah, Omaha, Gold, Juneau, and Sword. Here's Kane over here. Cherbourg, of course, is up here on the Cotentin Peninsula. And you've got, you know, your various areas here, as you can see. And on the map, as far as other things, we've got our turn record chart at the top, or turn record track, rather, starting on D-Day, Tuesday, June the 6th, 1944, and running all the way to June 27th. That is your 3-week campaign. The general records track for keeping track of other things, so you don't have to pile it all on here. 709th Division Mobilization, Glider Regiment, U.S. Air Support markers, the 4th Division, the 29th, and the 1st. Those are our landing divisions for the Americans. The Commonwealth, you've got the British 50th and 3rd Divisions, and the 3rd Canadian Division, which lands on Juneau. And so the map extends down to Falaise down here at the south. You can see exit points to head towards Germany here. And on the east, it basically is the end of the peninsula here. You got your the terrain types right on the map. Your airborne scatter table for landing your airborne troops, the 243rd Division mobilization. DD tank table, 1 to 3, you'll lose a step. 4 to 6, no effect. Got your Yabos table over here. Those, I believe, would be German air. And weather table. I could be wrong about that, but I think that's what that would be. Got our weather table right here. You can see you roll your d6. You've got a 50% chance of clear, a 33% chance of overcast, and I guess like about a 17% chance of a storm. And our weather track is here as well. British naval support, British air support, U.S. naval support, and U.S. air support, as I mentioned. So there is the map. It is very nice, as you can probably see. The hexes are decent size. The counters we already saw. This game will look very, very nice on the table when I get it out. So that is going to do it. That is the end of this particular video. So I do thank you for watching, as always. Please consider liking, sharing, and/or subscribing if you did enjoy the video. Or if you'd like to, please leave some comments, questions, etc. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. But, you know, I hope you'll come back and view something else, whether you like, share, or subscribe this one or not. That's up to you, of course. But yeah, that is it for me. I'm Joe. This is the Hexed Encountered channel. And until next time, as always, happy gaming.